Lawmakers were in their final session this week. Just tell us what was accomplished in Springfield.
Well, so they might still come back. Just to be clear, after Thanksgiving,
Okay.
there is a second half of veto session, and we could see a lame duck session as well in early January when more movement may occur. This week, not much happened other than Republican leadership. Not much occurred. That's not to say there aren't items on the agenda that could have been tackled.
Did they talk about
some
the
would
Safety
argue
Act?
should be tackled. They talked about it, mostly behind closed doors, as well as on the final day. There was a press conference and a rally behind some of the most ardent supporters of the Safety Act. And of course, that is this major criminal justice overhaul law that's been getting a lot of attention, both because of the elections and it's being taking a starring role in campaign ads, but also because the move to cashless bail occurs in January, and there's a lot of consternation over that. So what you really had happen was some talks about where things are at, and then again, behind closed doors, and we don't have any great answers. I think that while there's been talk about change before January and recognition by many leading Democrats, including the governor and attorney general, that changes have to be made because there are issues with the law before it is going to go into effect in January. It's going to be difficult because of those who support it not wanting any changes and seeing any sort of change as an attack.
So the Safety Act, Republicans pointed to it as evidence that Democrats were soft on crime. And while crime is making headlines, Monica, I know that you reported this week that violent crime is actually on the decline. So tell us more about what you found out.
Well, that's if you take a long view. I mean, you can say, you've seen these issues where crime has gone up in certain categories, especially, let's say, carjacking recently in Chicago. But if you do take the long view, like in 1991, when I was taking the train at 3 o'clock in the morning as a fancy free kid, and
Monica was fun.
That's right. Well, guess what?
1 in the morning.
Wow. I'd be at the Belmont. Hey, when's that train coming? That's when crime was more than double. Violent crime was more than double what it is today in Illinois. And I got all these letters like, I don't believe you. That can't be true. I don't make up the FBI statistics. These are FBI statistics on violent crime. And it has dropped by more than 50% in Illinois over the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yes, you've seen some blips here and there. 2014 was this crazy low period. And I talked to criminologists about why. They said, you talk to 15 criminologists, they'll give you 15 different answers. But I talked to Dave Stovall at UIC, who is he's a criminologist, but also a Black Studies professor. And he said, yes, it's true that it's dropped, but take a look, do a deeper dive and see that, yes, on the north side, you have seen a lot of improvements. But there was also this containment program where the police are actually maybe keeping people who may be at risk of committing crimes in these areas. So Austin, for instance, in a dive that Cranes did with the University of Chicago, has seen a 274% rise in crimes. So it's not falling everywhere. And then Dave Olson at Loyola University, another criminologist, told me, he said, yes, we've seen this, really rather steep drop in crime. But if you take a look in the last few years at homicide and suicide with firearms, those have been going up. And what else has been going up? The purchase and production of firearms for the public. Consumers have been buying more guns. So availability of guns, he thinks, may be linked to the actual homicides and suicides.
Well, on that bright note, we're going to take a pause. Our friends on YouTube loving this lineup. Shamrock Bloom says, loving this all-female reporter lineup. Chicago 675 says, another rock star panel. So we're going to pick up the weekly news recap in just a moment with WTTW's Amanda Vinicky, the Chicago Tribune's A.D. Quigg, and Monica Eng of Axios.